Like if you try to be everything to everyone, you'll end up being nobody to anyone. So just be you. These are some of the things when we talk about what are the tactical things agents can do.
Everybody listening today should basically write me a check right now for double, because instead of bringing you one awesome agent, we have two today. So we have Josh May, our favorite frequent co-host on the show. We have John Wentworth, a unbelievably top producing realtor, broker, coach, mentor, great guy, all of those things. And today we're going to have a couple conversations that are going to go deep. You might hear bad words, you might hear crying, and that might make it more fun. So guys, welcome to the show today.
3 guys crying and swearing. That'll be like, it's a hit.
We're in a vulnerable position here, and that's what people need, Matt.
Well, and that's what my wife tunes into $1 Million Listing for, but this is going to be a lot more real, and I can feel it already. So, guys, I just want to start by talking about what is happening with all these crazy stats out there. The stat that's all over the internet is that 75% of realtors didn't do a deal last year, and a huge part of that, I think, is a momentum problem. John, talk to me for a minute of what you see happening, and is it momentum or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Matt, good to meet you. Josh, always a pleasure. I don't know. I mean, these stats, it's like everybody has grabbed onto this one stat now and everybody's fucking posting it and running with it. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because it's probably what's been happening for a long time. Right. I think obviously you're getting an exodus of agents. When the market's really good, a bunch came in. Now you're getting that exodus of agents, but nothing's changed. At the end of the day, nothing's changed. And so grabbing onto that stat, showing that stat, blah, blah, blah. To me, I feel like as realtors, we do the cheesiest stuff. And to me, that's very cheesy to just run around and post this like, hey, look how bad we are as an industry. In regards to the momentum that I think a lot of agents are facing right now is this, it's very easy to get caught up in the flashy stuff into something new. But for us, until we've mastered the basics, until we've mastered the things that are in front of us right now, we don't move on to anything else.
So let's dive into that. So when you're an agent, and let's say you're new and you're trying to get things going, you're trying to get the ball rolling, or you've been in the business for 10 years. All of us on this call have been in the business for almost 15 plus years, some of you more. How do we get that momentum going, filled with the right types of activities?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, you have to know what to do, right? Like I said, Josh was talking about this earlier on the call last night. I was talking about, if I give somebody the game plan, like let's just say it's 1 through 10. If you execute 1 through 10 perfectly, this is how you are successful in real estate. The truth is, most people execute about 5 of them, right? Because they just get in their own way. They're either afraid to do things, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. They're looking for the moment when everything's going to be perfect instead of just taking action. And so by default, automatically they put themselves behind the 8 ball. And then even if you did 5 of those 10 things, though, you might have a little bit of success. And then how long can you sustain that? So it's interesting because at the end of the year, we at our team meeting, right, we're 65, 70 people at this meeting. And I created a Google sheet. Now I come up with these crazy ideas like at midnight, right? So I'm texting my marketing department, hey, we're going to do this. I created a Google sheet, 5 specific questions. And I don't remember what the questions were, but it was an agent was going to answer these questions specifically to themselves. How is my follow-up? How is my social media presence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in my head, I already knew the answer. They were going to be about a 6 or a 7. By the way, one of the top producing teams in the country, still going to be a 6 or a 7, because the truth is nobody operates at a 10. That doesn't exist. That is perfection, and perfection doesn't exist. Can you operate at a 7 forever? Right? And so we did this. I asked these questions. They're entering the answer. Like we sent an email to all of them. They're answering the questions. And then right away, the Google Sheet's coming up with the cumulative of all of the answers. 6.5 was the answer. Now, are agents a little bit harder on themselves when they're answering the questions? I don't know, maybe so, but either way, call it a 7. It just goes to show you that you don't have to be at a 10. The most important thing you can do is take action, even if that action in your mind is imperfect, which it is imperfect because there is no perfection. And so just getting out of their own way and following a game plan, that's for a new agent, right? You join a team, here's the game plan, can you follow it? Can you follow it? Well, how long do I follow it for? Fucking forever, man. For the first day, the first week, the first month, the next year, like continually over and over and over. And what usually happens is once people find some success, that usually, not always, but very often is the time when people kick their foot up or kick their feet up, right? And in real estate, you guys know, and everybody listening to this call knows, real estate is about momentum and then building momentum and then staying in it. Because once you take your foot off the gas, it's 3 months to get back going. This is why most, our industry as a whole, I don't want to say most realtors, I don't want to single out realtors, but this is why our industry as a whole has this influx of up and down, up and down, up and down. It's because people start doing good, they take their foot off the gas. Or people start doing good, they follow that game plan 1 through 10, and then they're like, oh shit, I can make my own cake. And they get rid of ingredient 2, 5, 7, and 9, and then wonder why things fall apart.
Right. I want to jump in on that because there's a massive leadership point here that John touched on that, I have just had to recently work through, with John's help. And we didn't mention, I don't think, that John has been coaching me for about a year now in the winner's circle, and we'll get into that at the end. But
privilege, by the way, and I mean that from my heart.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. And I hired John because I didn't need somebody to help me to prospect. I didn't need somebody to help me to get out of bed and get to work every day. I needed somebody to coach me on being a good leader. And what John said was very interesting there, because I had actually used to get frustrated with my agents when they didn't go 100%, right? I was like, we would set these monthly goals and people would be hitting 50, 60%. I'd be like, what the hell is going on, guys? Like, that, are we operating at a 50% capacity? And I had to reframe myself, because if you are trying to go 100% at everything you do, you are ultimately setting yourself up for failure. And I needed to get away. And that's a patience thing. That is taking down your personality style a little bit and accepting that you are not going to be perfect in business and life. So I think there's a big lesson there that too many agents, too many leaders, too many team leaders get caught up in, we got to be perfect. We got to be 100%. We got to be 100%. That is just absolutely not the case. So I just want to jump in and hammer that point through to everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a point worth being said. And I think the other piece too is, like, when we look at real estate as a whole, because you bring up leadership, I think that as a whole, our industry lacks leadership, right? And I actually did a video about this the other day, because you hear all of these agents, and we're recruiting all the time, right? Like you said, how many agents produced our 340 million last year compared to how many we have right now at the end of February? 2 totally different numbers, right? But just as a whole, like, when people, being realtors, start looking like, oh, what brokerage am I going to be at? What's the company? What do they offer? None of that matters, by the way, because they all offer similar shit. What is the leadership inside of that building? Because that is going to be the determining factor. What is the accountability? What is the leadership? And what is the environment that you're going to put yourself into?
It's such a good point. And I think so many people are attracted by that shiny object, right? I'm not to pick on anyone, but there's places that advertise on Facebook that they have free car washes and free daycare. And that's certainly one thing that you can offer, right? And I know you guys are giggling because it's an
I've never seen that.
Thing. Oh, well, you could have free daycare for your kids and free car washes, my friend, for the low price of maybe some leadership. But, most realtors get into the business because they want flexibility and independence, or they think they do. But then they get into it, and the reality of it is that there's no one holding them accountable unless they are super driven themselves, and they're able to find a mentor that can kind of give them somewhat of a plan. Otherwise, we're probably doing a disservice to our clients.
Yeah, and I think Josh brought up a good point. Like, when I first started getting coached, right, externally, when I started getting coached, not coaching, it was the same thing. I didn't need somebody. Like, these are the things that are just the bar to enter, right? Work hard, show up every day, follow the game plan, like on and on and on and on. And I had those things innately. I needed to understand how to run and grow the business, and that personal side of the growth, I think, is super important. And so I applaud Josh for taking that step, because every time we try to go to the next level, we have to look at, who do I need? What environment? Who do I need? What coach? What thing? But Josh and you guys talk about the shiny object. And I think in our industry, we're so prone to the next shiny object, right? Especially like if you think about leads, right? Leads, what leads? Well, this lead source, that lead source, all your lead sources are sucking from a conversion standpoint. So why would you add another layer? And that goes back to when I say, like, let's dominate these basics And once we have them and we're doing really well in them and we have a system and process built around them, then let's go add one more. And then again, build those systems and processes. We're always going to check in on those. We're always going to, adapt to what the changes are in the market, but we're not going to just go out and get all these different lead sources when we're doing a shitty job in the beginning. And I think if you take that mindset, that is happening so often in people's businesses, no matter what business they're in.
Right. You're totally right. I mean, like I'm in the lending business, right? So very similar but different to real estate. And last year we had 1,700 leads come in. And yeah, we closed 70 or 80 of them, $20, $30 million. We were happy with that. But this year we do not need to buy more leads because out of those 1,600s, I can see the stat on every single phone call, email, text, or amount of effort that went into that. And I'm embarrassed to say not enough effort went in, right? And we need to perfect our process, the number of calls, the quality of the calls, and the different types of offerings that we're making to those leads before we spend another dollar, frankly, on getting more of them. Because number one, we're stressing our sales staff out with not giving them the right tools to convert these at the same time as we're doing a disservice to clients by not giving them our all in terms of converting these. And I think many realtors, insurance people, lenders kind of feel that same way. So John, I want to ask you, and I'll give Josh a chance on this one too. How long have you been in the business, and what was your story? What was your origin story of going from getting into it fresh? I know you said you started, you didn't have a huge family history. Your dad wasn't, a real estate developer. How did you get to the $340 million, 50 agents level in a small town in Michigan?
Yeah, one day at a time, brother. I mean, when I got licensed, I don't even know. I think like 2008, somewhere in there. I know it was when the market was shitty because I was flipping houses at the time, and we came across our last home and we couldn't sell it because the market kind of had flopped. And so I'm like, well, then I'm going to get into real estate, right? Not something most people were doing, but I was seeing, because we were flipping these homes, I was seeing the work that was being done by agents in the industry. And I was just like, gosh, they really don't do a whole lot. I know I can outwork them. I know I can outmarket them. I know I can outthink them. I can get creative. I can do these different things that I don't see happening. And that's kind of what spurred me to get into real estate. And, I started out just trying to pay my bills. I mean, I'm 52 years old, and when I was 35, I was flat ass broke, living in a freaking hovel. And, frankly, I was broke and I was broke in, and I was just trying to figure life out. I've gone in and out of alcoholism really since I was, freaking 12 years old. And so this was just kind of a pivotal point in my life where, like, okay, it's time to make a change, right? Like, I need to grow up. I need to put the little boy to bed. And then this is what's really cool too, because I feel like when I'm looking for people to bring onto our team, I'm almost looking for those people that are a little bit broken or that are in a tough spot, because I want to help them get in. My mission is really simple: develop people, change lives. And the more that I can do that, that just keeps everything fresh for me. That keeps me going. That keeps me invigorated, because I never run out of people that I can do that with, that I can help. But I think that, that early journey in real estate, it was just like trying to pay the bills, man. Guy's mowing his lawn, I'm going to go talk to him. Suit and tie, grass blowing all over me. By the way, suit and tie, I had shit on layaway at Remax. I had shit on layaway at TJ Maxx. I had one white shirt, one pair of blue pants, and 3 different ties. And that's what I wore every single day, and fast forward, in 2018, I was at a big box brand, Remax, and I got fired. And at this time, we had grown the team. The business was doing really, starting to kind of take off, if you will. I think there was probably 10 or 12 of us at the time. And I didn't get fired by Remax, by the way. I got fired by an owner. And the only reason I got fired is we started dabbling into whether or not we wanted to get involved in a joint venture for title. I had put it aside for a while, and then we started kind of having that conversation. And as soon as they found out about that, because that guy owned the title company that was inside of that Remax building, they fired us, which is great. I always said, people would say, when are you going to go independent? When are you going to go on your own? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, whenever God says, And so he said, it was just shoved us out the front door. They gave us very little time to move. And by the grace of God, we ended up in this building that we're in now. At the 12,000 square feet. When we first moved there, we occupied a quarter of it, 2,500 square feet. Now we have basically the entire thing. We have one tenant left that we're just, I don't want to kick them out, but when they leave, we'll be occupying it. And that's 2018. And that's when we went independent. And now here we are, 19, 20, 21, 25. So 8 years later. And, We've been very blessed. I mean, we work our tails off. We have a culture of family, but also of accountability. And everybody shows up. We don't have part-time agents. It's about striving to be the best we could possibly be every single day with a simple mission of serving others.
One of the things you said that really struck me, and I know you were talking about it in terms of recruiting, but I think I'm just, from knowing you for 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure your team takes this to your clients as well. And you said, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? And you said that in context of your agents, but that is your way of going deep with people and really forming that relationship. And you think of most real estate brokers out there, they will hire any agent who can fog a mirror because it's just gambling, right? If you hire 10 agents, one of them makes it, you might make money off them. You're not going to lose a whole ton, so why not? You're being a little bit more intentional, but you're having that deep conversation and thinking to yourself, if there's not a way that I can help this person's life, I'm not that interested.
Yeah,
And
I literally just hired a gentleman. This was probably 3 weeks ago. I probably told Josh this story. And a guy that did 15 million in volume last year, right? And my recruiter, she was all excited. And I said, listen, I don't care about that. She knows this, by the way, but I reiterated it to her because I looked at the person and I knew that there was one chance for this person to make it in our environment, right? And so literally I sat him in my office. I said, listen, Bob, I'll just say Bob, right? Listen, Bob, I don't care if you sold $15 million last year. It means nothing to me. I don't need you to work here. The only way I'm going to bring you in is if you give me an opportunity to impact your life. And he's like, huh? Right? By the way, this person was a broker in the past. And I said, here's what you've got to commit to. You got to commit to 3 days in the gym. And he's like, huh? So yeah, you don't have to do it. You just can't work here if you don't. You got to commit to 3 days in the gym. And then I laid out some other things, right? Because I really wanted to take where this person was at and shift their life. And so for me, I look at everything like even going back to that mission of developing people and changing lives. If I'm thinking about or I've been asked to get involved in something, it's very simple for me. I just go back to that. Does this give me an opportunity to develop people or change somebody's lives or life? If it does, I'm probably in. If it doesn't, I'm totally out. And it's the same thing with growing this team. Like if I can't have that impact on the person, you putting your button in a seat and selling some homes means nothing to me. We have plenty of people that can sell homes. I want to have an opportunity to change somebody's life. And that guy lasted about a week and a half.
he didn't want to change lives.
Well, listen, we're stuck in our ways often, and one of our core values is being coachable. Right. And coachable isn't like listening. It's about listening and then taking action on what you learned. It's about understanding that no matter where you're at in your career, there's still more you can learn and there's still more you can share with others.
So Josh, why don't you give us some examples of some specific things? Because John hasn't fired you yet as a student. So give me a couple examples of some things he was really stern on coaching you on that you have now implemented in your business. Because I've watched you guys grow over the last 12 years. You're always growing, but I've seen a big change in just the mindset in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Before I get into that question, I just want to urge the audience while we're on this topic, because I love following John, but he doesn't know this. I think I like following some of his team members a little bit more, because if you want to be inspired by some agents that have started from scratch and are out there doing the work consistently on social media, maybe we can get into some of these stories later, but I've got name after name, person after person that I admire for their work ethic and their hungry and humble work ethic. So everybody should go follow John and then message John and find out some of these agents that I'm talking about and follow them also. I can guarantee you will learn just by being in proximity of their social media. So I just want to plug that real quick for the team there.
Good stuff.
So here's the deal with me. And this is one of these questions that I wanted to talk about today is, some of us have been in this business for a long time. In fact, I've been in this business for 25 years, which is shorter, than John's been or longer than John's been in business, I should say. And some of us get stuck in this place of fear, right? Or I don't want to say complacency. I don't want to say contentment. I want to say fear, because we don't know where to go next. And we're a little bit fearful of what that is going to look like and what kind of uncomfort that's going to bring. And to be quite honest with you, I was kind of tired. Like, I feel like we are a very successful team in West Michigan. Every agent on my team is very successful. We've got a really great thing going, but I felt like we weren't giving that opportunity to other people. And I was like, why are we not growing? Like, we have the pieces in place. Everybody is successful. Why are we not giving other people this opportunity? So, I mean, it was quite simple why I hired John. I hired John because I wanted him to focus on my leadership skills and also focus on business development. And what was really amazing is, this is not rocket science, what we're talking about, right? This is
not.
Not.
Go right back to the basics, probably in this story.
We're going back to the basics here, and I will tell you that for my entire career, I have been talking about core values, and I've only been talking about them is the problem. Like, so many agents, we establish this business plan, we establish, what our core values are, and then we actually can't remember what our core values are. Okay. And we don't believe them, and we don't live them, and we don't live them every day. So John challenged me to redevelop my core values and get the entire team to buy into these core values and talk about them every day and believe in them every day. And that is a big part of strengthening your foundation as an agent, as a team member, to take the next step to grow, because you can't grow until we have an incredibly strong foundation. And I think I was nervous to grow because the foundation maybe wasn't strong enough. I didn't want it to tip over. So we've made some amazing strides at really strengthening the foundation of the group. We've put some pieces in place to shift some of the administrative side around, because I didn't want to add agents until I had my back end sorted out. I've moved one of my lead assistants to full-time marketing. I brought in a transaction coordinator, and now we're about to, add another agent and then another agent, because with the help of John, we've strengthened that foundation, and he has given me, the ability to, I don't want to say see what I have in myself, because I knew it was always there. He's given me that guidance and pushed me and given me that confidence to let's go. Let's take it to the next step. You are obviously great at what you do. You just need a little bit of a push, and he's been along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. Like, when Josh reached out to me, I've always admired Josh. I met Josh at a Remax event forever ago. And it's not like we talked often after that, but I saw who he was as a human being. And the thing that's great about Josh is you see his heart in everything that he does. And those are the kind of people like that can really move the needle. And he already said it, right? Like, once he kind of flipped the script of like, well, I'm not focused on growing because I'm not chasing money, et cetera, but wait a minute, we're missing an opportunity to give more people the ability to come in and grow with us, which then, obviously transcends their lives. And we talk about being coachable, right? Like, what did I say? You've got to be willing to hear the information and then execute on the information. That's something that Josh does really well. Like, when we get off a call, he knows X, Y, Z, and he does X, Y, Z. Now, along the way, there's challenges that we face, et cetera, but he has taken this vision that he has, and he's really compacted it and kind of put it in the ability to see it through a scope. And now we're just going after it. And it's really cool. It's
kind of
really
want to add, I mean, I want to make sure people listening understand, like, this is not just a call for people who already have a team and who already, are at point, X in their career. All of the same stuff is hugely important, but also imperative if you were a solo agent, right? Like, the foundation is still the same. And I think you guys are touching a lot on this kind of like mentor-mentee relationship. And I mean, everyone needs someone that they can go to kind of like call their bullshit out, right? Like, especially when you've reached a certain level. And even if you're a solo agent, you need to make sure that you have somewhat of a mentor-mentee relationship with your clients, because the value that you offer to them is not just being able to turn a key and show a house, right? Like, we know time and time again, clients in 2025 don't need someone to find them a house that's already posted on the internet. They need a guide. They need someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. and who can deliver that information confidently. And if you don't have that strong foundation, if you don't have core values that you can not only market, but also live and act, then you can't possibly find the perfect client for you. You'll end up just getting burned out. Like, how many times have you guys worked with a client or tried to work with a client that you don't share any core values with, and then all of a sudden you don't enjoy working with them and you start to get burnt out? The more you broadcast your core values, the more you're able to avoid that and work with like-minded people.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of the same thing when you talk about broadcasting. Like, as we grow our team, I'm not out chasing people to try to recruit them. I have people reaching out to me damn near every day in one forum or another on Facebook Messenger. I have somebody reaching out to me every day, whether it's about the winner's circle, whether it's about coaching, whether it's about joining our team being a realtor, being on the staff, like every day. And why? Because I'm broadcasting all the time. And what am I broadcasting? Just my authentic self, who I am. And this is a piece that I think so many people miss, right? Because you say, even solo agents need a mentor. Yeah, but you have to actually be willing to listen to what the person says, which most of the time, if we're being honest, you're not going to love it, right? Because if we're getting honest feedback, the only way we grow is we focus on, okay, you're doing great here, but what are the areas that I need to improve on? And sometimes that hurts people's feelings, right? And so you have to have the ability to process that information, kind of be a third-party observer of it, and then make a change, implement the change, and then go after whatever it is that you're going after. But I think that piece of like broadcasting and where I'm going with this is the right people start reaching out. Same thing, the right clients start reaching out. Like, if you try to be everything to everyone, you'll end up being nobody to anyone. So just be you. These are some of the things when we talk about what are the tactical things agents can do. Well, you should be on video like crazy, but most people aren't because, I'm not ready, or I didn't do my makeup, or I don't like how I sound, or my hair. Listen, you look how you look, you sound how you sound. If you're that worried about it, you can't leave the house, let alone worrying about going on video. So I think people just need to really embrace who they are. Now, I'm not talking about showing up with baggy jeans and you haven't showered in 3 weeks. I'm not talking about that authentic self. I'm talking about like who you are as a human being, who God made you, and accepting that and being okay with that. And then always being on this search of for me, I'm on this endless chase of pursuing my highest and best self. And that keeps me always reaching for more. That keeps me always raising the bar personally and professionally in everything that I do.
So here's a question. So if you're a normal agent listening to this right now, let's say you're doing, $0 to $10 million in sales, depending on your market, that's a lot or a little bit. Who's going to win in this market? Like, how can an agent win in this specific market? Some areas of the country have crazy inventory like we've never seen before. Other areas, we're just kind of getting to base camp again with inventory. And in other areas, it's heating up like no other again. And it seems like we're going to be back to the market that we had 2 years ago. How can someone win in this market right now?
Well, I think you just teed that up for John, because he had a great conversation about this last night. And John, when you answer this question, can you talk about also leveraging your environment when we're answering this question? I mean, your environment is critical to your success in winning in this market. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer the question, Matt, it's really simple. The agent that's literally because here's something, I do this for fun, right? When I interview people, I'm like, oh, cool. So you want to earn this much money? Yeah. Awesome. At what lengths are you willing to go? And what do they all say?
I'll do anything.
I'll do whatever it takes. Very few will actually do whatever it takes. So how do you win no matter what the market is? You fucking do whatever it takes, man. This is the lifestyle you've chosen. You're an entrepreneur. If you're in real estate, essentially you're an entrepreneur, right? Everything that you gain, everything that you eat, I should say, is, I got dogs barking everywhere. Somebody must be home. Everything that you eat is what you killed, meaning you're going out, you're working to garner this business. So you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. That means I will go on video. That means I will do 2 open houses on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. That means I will shoot a video follow-up for every single person, and every single person will go on my CRM, and I will call them on Monday. I'll do whatever it takes. Most people won't.
Well, and you're totally right. I've met with 3,500 agents over the last 13, 14 years, and every single person, I give them a list of things to do, and I call them the next week, and I see which items they got done.
Yeah.
Most of them get 0 done, but they have a bunch of great excuses, and I should write the excuses down because that would be more fun. But the people that do all the things, if they do them and fail, they're still happy because they got them done and there's a sense of accomplishment. And then I know they're going to do the next thing and the next 5 things. And they're going to keep trying and trying and trying until they find the ones that absolutely stick and have a proven scientific track record for them. And then the minute they find that, they go to the moon.
Right. Well, what's the old saying? Work hard now or work hard forever is what.
Well, I mean, this is what I look at, right? Like agents. I mean, we just had the other day, an agent like, man, I've been working my tail off for 3 months. I'm like, huh? Three
Right.
what? Like 3 months. And I'll never forget. I had somebody, and I shared this on the call last night. I had somebody come to me like they wanted an advancement on their pay, and he's like, well, I've been working really hard for the last couple of weeks. I'm like, that's what you get paid to do, right? So I just think people have this concept of like when they say whatever it takes, they don't really understand what it takes.
Right.
And because they don't really understand what it takes, they don't realize that they're actually not willing to do what it takes.
Right.
But Josh, you asked me to focus on something specific here. And where did you want me to go with that?
Well, I just said, the importance of leveraging your environment.
Your environment. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge believer in this. I think proximity is power. I think that when you talk about you could forget about real estate. You want to live a happy life, spend time with happy people. You want to be depressed and down, hang out with downers and people that talk about negative. The truth is in life, in business, if you look for negative, you'll find it. If you look for positive, you'll find that as well. And so this idea of your environment, like they always say, if you're the sixth person hanging out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth and all of that stuff. And that's great. But truly, if you think about it, and I just said this today, like if you put 10 high producers in a room and their job was to outwork each other, I mean, imagine the production that would be coming out of there. And then no matter who ended up being the top producer at the end of, let's just say 30 days and whatever the thing you were trying to do, and you took that person, then put them in a room by themselves 30 days later, I bet they wouldn't even hit half of what they were doing when they were in the environment of other people. See, winners want to be around winners, and it drives them to do more. And so I think your environment is ultra important, and that also applies on a personal, level as well. So feelings, to me, it's like feelings are a choice. When you wake up, you have a decision to make, right? You can choose, am I going to pout? Am I going to make excuses? Am I going to be a victim? Am I going to point blame? Or am I going to take ownership of everything in my life and then go kick ass?
Right.
I'm going to go kick ass personally. I can promise you that.
You're hired.
Hey, one of the things to expand on that is I have always been a believer in the acceptance of reality phase of life in this business. Too many agents get into this business and they think it's going to be a little bit easier than it actually is to get rolling. And if you can challenge yourself to get in the mindset and to get in the mental toughness to accept reality, how hard this challenge is going to be. Obviously, that is why there's an 87% turnover rate in this business, because nobody tells these agents how hard, what kind of effort it's actually going to take. And I've had agents sit in my office with tears in their eyes saying, I don't think I can go. I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can do it anymore. And that same agent 2 years later is selling $12 million in real estate because they got through that acceptance phase of how tough this business is, the mental toughness, and now they're going to be rewarded. I always tell people, embrace that suck. And I promise you, if you play the long game, you will 100% be rewarded and you will deserve it. So you've got to get in that acceptance phase to succeed in this business.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that again is, when we talk about the momentum piece, why people have so much trouble, because real estate is a momentum game. Like, you can show up, you can do the game plan, all 10 things to a T, and it still takes time to build that momentum. And the challenge that people face is they want it quick. That's our society. They want it quick. They think 3 months is a long time, right? They literally think like, shit, I've been working hard for 3 months. Well, that is nothing, right? And by, like you said, many times though, I feel like people face that moment and then they have a decision to make. Do I keep going, or do I do what I've always done, or what most people do, which is quit, shift to something else, go another 3 months there, not see the result they want, drop that, shift, go to something else. We see that so often. And I actually came up with this quote last night when I was doing that winner's circle call. And it was like, People will literally quit on themselves based on the results they didn't get of the work they didn't do. That's jacked up.
Crazy.
And it happens all the time, right? So that 1 through 10, if I do 1 through 10 and it takes this long, well, at the end of 3 months, if I look at that 1 through 10, what did I really do? Probably a 6, right? Some people, probably a 3. So of course you're not going to get the freaking result that you want. You haven't done the work. And yet they'll quit on themselves based on the work they didn't do and the result they'll never get, whether it's here, there, or 5 years down the road. Because you have to have the ability to sustain. You have to have the ability to, even when you're not getting the thing that you're chasing, to keep going. And so these are the things that I talked about last night about why people can't stand momentum. One is they think everything's supposed to be fun, right? Like, oh man, it's no fun. Well, you're an adult now, right? Kids chase fun. As an adult, you have to figure out how to make winning the most fun thing you do. Like I heard this on a podcast once. I forget who the guy was, but he's like, winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I was like, oh shit, that's huge. Because it's so true. If you can embrace winning and make that your fun, that means all of the little things along the way that you have to do, outsmart, outmaneuver, outwork, show up when others can't, get your ass out of bed, no matter how tired you are. Like those little wins are the things that create the the big wins. So fun, throw fun out the window, man.
Well, if you like collecting wins, real estate's the perfect business for you because there's so many opportunities for micro wins, from getting that initial lead to taking them to the next level, to finding them that amazing house, to getting to the closing table, to calling them and staying in touch and hearing about how their new house is going. And then getting that referral from someone they know. I mean, there's so many ways to win here that if you can especially embrace those micro wins, I mean, you're going to be wired for happiness permanently.
But here's a micro win that people don't understand. I held an open house. 3 people showed up. I shook their hand. I got their name and number. They left. I didn't sell the house. I called them Monday. They still didn't answer the phone, but that's still a win. But people are used to, like, if I put something in, I want something back right away. And that's not how real estate works, right? So they want it to be easy. They want it to be fun. They want it to be easy. And they want it to be quick. And that's just not how it works. And I think the other thing, and I talk about this a lot because I always want to drive this home, is like, and again, one of these people that I was talking about earlier that had this conversation about I'm 3 months there, he said literally, now by the way, he's heard me say this before at team meeting, but he literally said, I'm showing up every day. Well, showing up means shit. I can take my 13-year-old up to the office and put him in a chair. Showing up is none of the battle, right? There's that saying, showing up's half the battle. No, showing up is none of the battle. And if you think that it's part of the battle, you have no shot of winning. So it's just you must show up, and then you got to show out. You got to do the work.
Right.
So if someone wants to do the work and they want to win and they want to change their mindset, I know you have the winner circle. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the winner circle is kind of a passion project for me, right? And then I realize it's a lot of time, but that's great. You know, I'm just shy of 16 months sober. As I said earlier, you know, I've kind of battled this thing for a while, and now I finally whooped it for good. And I'm sure some people say, no, one day at a time. No, bro, it's for good. See, I have this vision, and it's so far down the road that it's done. It's just a matter of time until time passes. The same way I'm going to take this company to $3.5 million or $3.5 billion by 2030. It's already done. It's just a matter of time. Now I got to do all the shit inside of it to get us there, but I know that's where we're going. Like, that's how clear I am with it. So the winner circle, as I said, kind of started out a passion project because a lot of people were reaching out to me about coaching, and I never wanted to do coaching. And you know, listen, I know there's a lot of agents out there that are getting started, so don't take this the wrong way. But for me, I mean, I have 75 people in our company. I have 4 different businesses, right? So I didn't have an urge. And I think because this is what I've done every day for so long, is trying to take somebody from 0 sales to 10 to 20 to 50. So I never wanted to like coach somebody like, hey, let's teach you how to sell 3 houses. Like that. Just, I want to do stuff that I'm very passionate about. So passion for me is taking somebody like Josh, who I know is a great human being, who I know has a great heart, who is all about serving others, who's always all about helping grow others. And those are the kind of people that I enjoy working with, right? So one great thing is I get to choose who I work with. But the winner circle itself, I do a call every Monday at 6:30 Eastern, and I share a lesson. Last night's lesson was all about momentum, right? Because I do believe like this momentum piece is important. Momentum is very epic. Like once you get, like I compared to surfing, right? Like you get on the wave, baby, and you're just riding. But when you get behind the wave and you start chasing that sucker, I don't know. I have not seen anybody paddle fast enough to be behind the wave and catch it. You notice how they're always out in front of the wave and the wave comes to them, but they're paddling before the wave even gets there. And so that's how I think about momentum is like, I think it's really important. It's also really fragile. Like you can fuck it up really easily. And generally it's from success, oddly enough. And this is about raising the bar, right? Like how do you avoid that? You got to keep raising the bar on everything that you do in your life. Back to the winner circle. I teach a lesson every Monday at 6:30. We do a live Q&A at the end of it. And then I do 3 of those a month. And then we have one special guest a month. You know, I've had Super Bowl champions. Actually, we just had somebody, Ben Van Sumeren off of the Philadelphia Eagles was just on. Heath Evans, a good buddy of mine, was on. He won a Super Bowl with New England. No, he played with Brady, but he actually won with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Great human being. Just bringing on great people that have great life experiences that can pour into us and share. And then Josh knows he attended our one day. So we do some events, and then we also do some mastermind live events. Like we just had 20 some people here at our house last Saturday, maybe the Saturday before, for an all-day mastermind. And we're planning the next one right now, by the way. I've got a big deal speaker lined up, and we're going to have live music and dinner afterwards. So we're just kind of putting that stuff in. But I love that stuff. And I love bringing people together also. So like, I love delivering a message. I love being able to impact somebody. I love being able to maybe shift somebody's mindset. Because here's what I know is like, you can, see, I get swearing, but you can fucking know everything. Great. Can you do the work? Can you do it long-term? Can you do it when things don't go your way? Can you still show up when things get tough? Can you do it when there's all kinds of stuff going on in your personal life? Can you always maintain that? And that is about mindset. Mindset is the thing. And I just feel like for me, you know, I lived a very troubled childhood, a lot of abuse. My mother committed suicide when I was 6, and it just lived on for a long time. And I really believe God shaped me through all of that stuff to be where I am right now. And that's why I wouldn't change a thing. And so I'm having a lot of fun with the mastermind. I just appreciate everybody that's involved. And we do some group coaching inside of that as well, like everywhere from the weekly calls to one-on-one coaching like Josh and I do. I mean, I coach a guy that owns a glass company. So it's not just real estate, but I do love real estate leaders, teams, brokers, and helping them grow.
I love that. Thank you, John.
I do want to just give a plug here because, you know, there's a lot of people that listen to this, and there's a lot of people at different levels. And, you know, some of the people listening are, you know, maybe entering the business, maybe newer agents. I would urge you to look into this because of the value that you will receive for the monetary amount owed is you will 10x.
Yeah.
You will 10x that if you truly buy into the group. Okay. I would urge people to look into it because there's not a large financial investment to get involved in this. And I'm always wowed at how much John is giving back for what he is getting. So definitely take a look into that.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot. And you're right. I mean, it's got to be the best value on the internet for the entry point, right? And I think that's a big piece of this, just getting on the Monday calls, getting involved in the Facebook group, et cetera, et cetera. So I've seen a lot of lives change, and that's what it's all about for me. That's what keeps me fired up to do it. That's what has me swearing on a call, fired up on a call, or even like last night, man, crying a little bit on a call because this shit's serious. And, you know, the things we go through in life are real.
Well, I love this, guys. I think the moral of the story today is do something and get excited, or maybe get excited then do something. Thank you both, John, Josh, for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Love you, Josh.
Thanks, guys.